So today I'm doing something I've never done before. Sometimes when I make videos of tips and tricks, I get too many tips and I end up not putting them in the video. And I have leftovers, and today we're going to look at some of the leftovers because there's still some good information here. So let's get started. So I just got back from the lumber store, and before I start cutting up this wood, here's a perfect example of why we don't use construction grade wood for furniture, especially things like seating. Right here is a couple of pitch pockets, and even though this wood, it's construction grade, but it's slightly kiln dried. Usually they kiln dry it to around 17%, give or take a bit. But even then, when I put my finger on this, I can tell it's still sticky. And this one here is less sticky, but I can still feel that there's some liquid in there. This will never dry out. And what happens is sometimes this one here we can actually see, but there could be pitch pockets inside here that you will never see, and they will weep. If there was a slight bit of wood over top this, that will weep out of there, and especially if it's on some kind of a seating thing, people will sit on that and get pitch on their clothes. But the problem is you can never finish over top of this. It's problematic for everything, and that's why we don't use construction grade softwoods for furniture. What I want to show you here is a quick little trick that I've done on my Dalmax that might save a little bit of time for you. Now, this is the standard configuration of a Dalmax, and of course it sits like that in the wood. I also have a second one now because I use it so often. I reconfigure it. Basically, you just take this lower part off here and insert it under there, and you can see that's what I've done here, and that's for sort of on top of the board so that you can drill matching holes on top. But what happens when you have this kind of a configuration, I put the shorter screws in this side, and I find it difficult. Sometimes they get stuck in there. There's just not much room to get your fingers in there to spin them. So what I've done is just put a little slot in the end so that when I'm installing or uninstalling these little studs, threaded studs in here, I can just use a little screwdriver, and then they're easy to take in and take out. If I need to reconfigure it, you can see that you stick a screwdriver in there, a little slot in the end. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Really simple. So there's one of the short studs, and I'm putting it in my vise, and it does have a soft wooden sides to it, but I'm not going to go very high. I don't want to destroy the threads on there, and I found that that's about right. Now, there's two things you can do. If you don't have a Dremel tool, you can use just an ordinary plain old hacksaw. You don't even need a handle for it. It's a little tedious. It'll take you a little while to do that, but the quick way of doing that is by using a little Dremel tool, and I've got my safety glasses on, and all you do is look straight down. You can actually see the center of that, and you go straight down on the center. Cut a little slot, and now you've got a place where a screwdriver can go in, and it's a lot easier to manage. A few months ago, I picked up this dry lube. It was an impulse buy. I was looking for something else, but what caught my eye was the table saw on the label here. And it just says it's a dry lube. It doesn't even give you instructions. It's just spray it on, and it reduces friction, evidently. So I tried it the other day, and to my amazement, it actually worked fairly well. And when I touched the blade after, there's actually some sort of a silky feel to it now. So it actually really does work. But then I thought, well, what about if you put it on this is the deck of where you're pushing stuff is where a lot of the friction comes from. So what I've done, I've got the side of my table saw here. I've cleaned it all off really well with steel wool. I'm going to try 3 different things. I'm going to use this beeswax, and I have used this before, never used this on here. And I have this something called top coat. They call it glide coat now. This stuff is really expensive. I think it's like about $30 or $40 a can. This can is probably about 4 years old for me, so I don't use it very often. This can is, I think, maybe, I don't know, 10 or 12, quite a bit less. And so I'm interested to see how this works. Now, where I usually use this is on my jointer. I've got a wide jointer, and if I'm pushing wide wood through it, this stuff really works well. It really reduces the friction on the deck, and I'm wondering if this will do the same thing for, you know, a quarter of the price. The way I'm going to try and measure it, I have this piece of wood, and I'm going to be pulling it with this spring, and you can see that I've marked off where the stop is, and just sort of drag it across here and see if I can actually measure it. The spring is actually pretty strong in this, so I don't know, and I've got a weight to put on here, so I don't know how well it's going to measure, but we're going to try it anyway. As far as waxes, I have used paraffin in the past, and it works okay. The only problem is it's inconsistent when you rub it on, so I'm going to use a paste wax. I'm not going to show you all the prepping, except to say that I'm going to mask off one area, spray it, mask off everything else, spray it, and then the last one I'll use, I'll just wipe on the beeswax on it and see how that works. So. Okay, there's the 3 pieces that I'm testing. And that one sits there. Now, I forgot to show you the test with nothing on it, and it worked out to 3.2 kilograms or 7 pounds. So let's give this a pull now and see what it does. Oh, it's way, way, way less. I would say that's 1.2. 1.2 kilograms. Let's try it again. Don't want the fence to interfere. Yep, 1.2. Okay, so that was the top coat. Okay, let's try the blaster. Okay. That's about 1.5, so not quite, but significant, quite a bit. Let's try it one more time. Yeah, I'd say about 1.5, 1.6. Certainly for the price of it, it's well worth it. Okay, now the last one is the beeswax. Let's see what beeswax does. Be interesting. About 1.3. try it again. Yeah, 1.3. Yep. So pretty good. 1.3. So with nothing, I was pulling at 3.2 kilograms, which is 7 pounds. I'm gonna take a minute here and work out everything in pounds here so that we. Okay, so the way it worked out is this was the best, this was actually second best, and this was third, but only by a tiny bit. So with nothing, I was pulling 7 pounds on this. With the top coat, it drops down to 2.6. With the blaster, it was 3.3, so a little bit. And the beeswax is 2.8. So, but let's figure into the price. So I think I paid $6 or $7 for this special beeswax. So $7, $12, and I'd have to look this up, but this is up around 40 bucks. So that shows you what you can get. So any one of these is less than half, quite a bit less than half, in some cases a third of what not having top coating. Now, where you would use this, of course, if you're on your table saw and you've got big, heavy wood, wide wood, you might want to use something like this to top coat because it really does make a big difference. And as I said at the beginning, I use it somewhat frequently on my jointer, especially if I've got wide boards that I'm running through, and maybe a few of them, and they all seem to last well. I've never used this before, and this is new to me, so but this here lasts, you know, quite a bit. I've never measured how many boards before you need to reseal, but it does last quite a while. In fact, normally I would say days, and then I kind of lose track of it. So anyway, interesting things. Well, and there you go. You know, the testing of the coating on the tabletop deck was pretty interesting. Particularly, I'd never used wax before, beeswax before, and it actually turned out to be the second best. I know some people are going to comment, well, it leaves residue on your wood, and you know, I don't know anybody who doesn't sand before they put some sort of a top coat on. So unless you're painting, maybe, but I think everybody sands, and any residue would come off on that. But I would be interested to know if you use any kind of a coating like that, either on your blades or on the deck of your jointer and your table saw. Those are kind of the two most prevalent areas because they're bigger, wider decks, and typically where you use bigger, wider boards. So drop me a note in the comments. I'd be interested to see. I'm Colin Canet for Woodwork Web. Thanks for watching.